This week on the Analog Circle Podcast, we get price points on how much GameStop is offering for the trade-in value of the Xbox One to put towards the next-gen consoles. Sony gives PlayStation VR owners the info they need to get the free camera adapter so they can play PSVR on their PlayStation 5. Cyberpunk 2077 is delayed again, and Nintendo are getting into cloud streaming officially. That should be something very interesting right there. But all of these stories can be found here right now in episode 150 of the Analog Circle Podcast. I am your host, Kiaun Mitchell, and I truly want to thank every last one of you brothers and sisters for being here to spend a little bit of time with me. Now, before we officially get into the show, ladies and gentlemen, if you, the listener out there listening right now, yes, you, I'm pointing my fingers at you. If you want to be a part of the listener feedback episode that's coming up later on this week, if you want to leave your comments, if you want to let your voice be heard, you can do it two different ways. Either you can call in at 443-216-9934, or you can email the show, and the email address is, of course, the Analog Circle Podcast at gmail.com. Now I'm gonna tell you one more thing, guys. This is just a doggone another selfless promo. Good grief, I'm horrible here. But if you want to find some previously recorded episodes of the podcast, all you got to do is go to Google, type in the Analog Circle Podcast. It'll take you to where you need to be, and enjoy yourself. Now, guys, good gosh, I'm going level with y'all right now. I gotta be to work in about 3 hours, man. I mean 3 short hours. Good gosh. So what I'm gonna do this week, I didn't get a chance to play anything. It was an absolute wash. Nothing was played on my console, unfortunately, this week. But with that being said, I might try to shorten the show up a little bit this week because of time. So with that being said, without further ado, guys, let's go ahead and get into what we all come here for. And that is the gaming news that went down. Let's go ahead and get things started with some very cool PlayStation 5 news. So over on Twitter, Sony Santa Monica, which is one of my favorite studios, by the way, they said this, and I quote, "Whether you're picking up the game for the first time or looking to finish that NG or New Game Plus save, God of War 2018 on the hashtag PlayStation 5 will offer up to 60 frames per second using the favor performance video option. Save transfers start right where you left off on PlayStation 4. End of quote. Now, if you guys have been listening to the podcast for any length of time, you guys know that God of War was one of my top 3 games of the whole generation. The game was absolutely amazing from start to finish. I think it's safe. I'm a bring up a little bit of a spoiler, but I think it's kind of safe. It's been 2 going on 3 years now since the game released. But that first boss fight with the stranger, oh my goodness, when he knocks on the door and he's looking, it was just great. Well, I don't want to go into too many spoilers. Some people might not have played the game yet, but when he's going to the door and he's looking for somebody else, but it's actually, Kratos, just that fight was incredible, man. What a heck of a way to start the game off. From that point, it was just off to the races. So just the fact that they're offering a 60 frames per second mode, that combat was already buttery smooth. It was excellent. And to think of the 60 frames per second, I mean, we've all played games at 60 frames per second. More so for me, it's been first-person shooters, Call of Duty or whatever may have you. Doom, 60 frames per second. But I can't truly say that I've played a lot of third-person perspective games at 60 frames per second. And for those that have, they just say it's something about the movement. It just feels so smooth. It's just a different level of playing. So you couple that with, in my opinion, like I said, my favorite top 3 games of the generation with the gameplay it already had, putting on to that 60 frames per second. That's amazing. I mean, I'm guessing it's going to be amazing. I'm hoping so. But not only that, taking it a step further where people did have a lot of concerns, including myself, they are telling us that the save transfers, you'll be able to do that, and you'll be able to start right where you left off on your PlayStation 4, getting to that same point on your PlayStation 5 when you start the game. So that is excellent. That should definitely put some fears to rest as far as the save transfers go when it comes to, having one go from the PS4 to the PS5. I'm so excited about this. AB, man, shout out to you, brother. I can't wait for you to really get your hands on this and be able to play it at 60 frames per second. It's going to be amazing for you, brother. Let's go ahead and move on into the next story. Now, let's see. This is, oh man, here we go with Killer Assassin Phil, man. This is possibly, in my opinion, horrible Xbox news. And it's once again coming from no other than Phil Spencer, where he had an interview with Game Reactor and said his company's main priority is, quote, reaching more players, end of quote. There's nothing wrong with that. That's not what I have a bit of a situation with. But he continued to say in this NME article that he loves the Nintendo Switch and PlayStation, and while he's not sure they are, quote, the next big set of users, listen to that, users, he is, quote, open to those discussions, end of quote. So could it be? And I ain't gonna lie, I heard some Xbox podcasts that were like Xbox centric. They ain't bring this up, man. And this is not a shot towards anybody, I promise you. I want no smoke at all. But I didn't hear too many people bringing this situation up that really like the Xbox brand, brother. I sat here and I just pondered. I said, man, Phil, what are you telling us? Are you telling us that you would be willing to put Game Pass not only on Nintendo, because everybody wants to undermine Nintendo like they're not a rival, like they're not in the same business as Microsoft or the Xbox brand. They're both in the gaming business. That is your rival. But yet people try to undercut Nintendo like, man, it's Nintendo. It ain't worried about nothing. And I understand Nintendo does their own thing, but they are a rival. They are a rival. So with Phil saying this, could we see a time and a day where not just Nintendo, but PlayStation could be getting Game Pass on their consoles? I'm going to tell you this. Once that happens, brothers, I'm wiping my hands and I'm done. I'm done with the Xbox brand. It is no need to have the Xbox brand at that point, because you think about it. If they are going to do this, Phil Spencer, man, brother, that Bethesda move, man, I'm going to give you credit for that all the way through. That was one heck of a power move right there. So the credit is still high on you doing that from me. But with something like this coming into the fold, we know that all of Xbox's exclusive games come day and date to Game Pass. Now, could we have a situation where this Bethesda deal, Elder Scrolls 7 or 8, whatever, I'm just, thinking a little further down the line, that once Game Pass hits on the PlayStation, now all of a sudden you have access to all of the Bethesda games. You got access to any games that the Coalition makes, any games that Playground Game makes, Ninja Theory. It's like, what's the point of owning a Xbox at that point if you can get their games on other platforms other than their own? To me, that is the death blow to the Xbox brand. But for some people, they may still say, oh, no, that's fine. That's not a problem. They don't have anything to worry about. They're just expanding the brand. But at what cost? Are you expanding the brand at what cost? I mean, here it is, Phil. He's already let it be known. He wants to reach 1 billion gamers. That is his goal. 1 billion gamers. And if he's going to reach that goal, I guess he's like, look, we're going to have to do things unconventional around this mother lover. So look, this is what we're doing. We're trying to get to the bag the best way we can. If Nintendo allows us to be on their platform, we're going to do it. If Sony allows us to be on their platform, we're going to do it, because it's about the money. This is what I'm starting to think. I'm starting to think that Microsoft, now if that Ubisoft deal is true or not, I really I would say 100% don't believe it'll happen at all, not even close. But if that's the play, let's just live in pretend world for a minute that's what Microsoft does. They pick up Ubisoft and they have Bethesda already. Could it be a play that Microsoft is just trying to buy up all of these big studios or these big publishers, even though they've only done it once, but we're just saying as pretend? They pick up Ubisoft. Could it be a situation where they're trying to back Nintendo and Sony into a corner, telling them that if you want these games on your platform, this is what you have to do for us. You need to put Game Pass on your platform. It would be a very interesting move. I don't think it's good for gaming. I think that that should be against the rules of engagement, shouldn't it? I mean, God, dog. I mean, how far are you going to go to get to your goal? I mean, it's just very interesting. I don't think it's a great idea. Some other people may think it's a good idea, but I think it's not good for the gaming industry. Look, Microsoft, Xbox, if you want to get out of the console space, then just leave. It would hurt me. It would hurt very, very much so, because it is my preferred platform. But if you're going to tippy-toe around and, try to dip your toe over here, dip your toe over there, then just forget all of that. Just say, look, we're trying to get to the bag. This is business for us, and I understand that 100%. Just step out of gaming and walk away and become a third-party publisher. That's all you got to do. Anyway, I don't know. I would love to get you guys' opinion on this. Do you think that that's a good move? If Phil Spencer was to do that tomorrow, matter of fact, let's just say today, would you guys be okay with it? And would you continue to what's the word, man? Support the Xbox brand? I would love to get you guys' answer on that. Let's go ahead, though, because I spent way more time on that than I wanted to. But let's get on into the next story. So, oh, buddy, let's talk about CD Projekt Red. Well, once again, the game has been delayed. Now, even though they officially said the game had gone gold. Now this is the thing. That threw me off. They said it's delayed, but yet, just like 2 weeks ago, they said the game had gone gold, which is confusing to me. But to put more clarity on the situation, studio execs Adam Badowski and Marcin Owinski had this to say, and I quote, "Since Cyberpunk 2077 evolves towards almost being a next-gen title, somewhere along the way, we need to make sure everything works well and every version runs smoothly. We're aware it might seem unrealistic when someone says that 21 days can make any difference in such a massive and complex game, but they really do." End of quote. Now, if you weren't aware of it, I was about to say about it, or whatever, the new release date is December 10th. So at least, this is the thing. First off, man, this was just crazy. Here we are. I mean, this is something we've always seen, but golly, I just want to talk about CD Projekt Red just for a second. I mean, we're talking about them, but I want to talk about the company for a minute. Here it is. You've had CD Projekt Red come out with The Witcher 3 again in my top 5 best games of the generation. It didn't make quite top 3. I don't know. Did Witcher make 3? I think that was in my top 3. I think it was Last of Us 2, Witcher 3, and God of War. I think those were the 3 for me this generation. Yeah, so once again, a game I hold in high esteem. Here it is, CD Projekt Red. When that game was released, they sent, their packaging was incredible for this day and age where you don't even get a booklet with the physical copies of a disc. These guys had stickers in the box. They had, other things they just threw in the box, man. It was amazing. A lot of fanfare. These guys have always been absolutely amazing with their DLC. They don't price gouge. These guys are really stand-up dudes when it comes to the gaming community. These guys have done nothing wrong. They have delivered on, like I said, in my opinion, one of my top 3 games of the generation. You know, with the content that they've put in their DLCs, they have been top-notch and have done nothing wrong. And that's why I just don't understand these guys. I understand this, that Cyberpunk 2077 has been delayed time and time again. But with a company with this kind of reputation in the gaming community, how could you turn your back on them and start sending them death threats? Like, golly! Like, these guys have been held to such a high standard where you hear gamers all the time say that more companies need to be like CD Projekt Red, but yet when you don't get your way, you start sending death threats because the game is just bumped out a month? Not even quite a month. You know, from its original date that it was supposed to release. Now I understand people can say it's the internet, you know, who's gonna really do anything. I get that, but good grief, man. Just give the devs, man, lay off of them, man. I mean, golly, how you gonna get the game if you kill them? I mean, God, dog, does that make any sense? How you gonna get the game, man? Good grief, and I understand. I don't think anybody would really do anything, but, I mean, you never know. But I'm just saying that to say that, man, it's never enough for some people, man. I mean, am I bummed that the game is delayed a little bit? Sure I am, yeah. But golly, I ain't about to tell these guys, look, you know, I'm trying to threaten somebody's life. It's gaming at the end of the day, my goodness. You know, so I just say the gaming streets are just really fickle. You just never know which way the pendulum is going to swing when you're around in these gaming streets around this mother lover. But somebody like CD Projekt Red, who has done nothing but goodwill for the gaming community. This is how you treat them. Good grief, man. It's just a couple of weeks of a delay. I don't understand, but that's just me. I'm sure the game is going to turn out excellent. I have high hopes for it. Definitely one of my most anticipated games of the year. And if they need the time, they need the time, man. What Miyamoto said that a bad game is bad forever, but a delayed game can fly with wings or something. I don't remember the direct quote, but y'all know what I'm talking about. Anyway, let's go ahead, man. CD Projekt Red, I'm still rooting for you. You're not going to make the Game of the Year contender this year, so next year you will, which I think Ghost of Tsushima and Last of Us Part 2 will definitely be in the conversation, and I'm rooting for The Last of Us Part 2 to win that award. Anyway, let's go ahead and get into the next story. Now, in quick news, the next-gen versions of Madden 21 and FIFA 21 will release on December 4th, and you will be able to carry over your progress. Again, being able to carry over your progress to the next generation of consoles. You'll be able to carry it over, like I said, if you had it on the PS4 to the PS5 or the Xbox One to the Xbox Series X or S version. So that's fantastic. And speaking of Madden, oh man, I'm in a little bit of pain right now, ladies and gentlemen. I'm in a bit of pain. Oh, it was a good, man. The weekend started out real good, man. Tank Davis, a Baltimore native, he came out in the 6th round, won his fight by knockout by hitting the guy with a straight uppercut. Lights out. It was amazing, Baltimore. We were absolutely above the moon with excitement when Tank Davis came out there and did his thing. But on Sunday, today, God dog, my Baltimore Ravens, we were so close. Oh, we were so close, man. And it was just a rough game. Man, Jackson wasn't throwing the ball well. We got 2 interceptions and came down to the last doggone 12 seconds of the game, and we just couldn't pull it off. Very, very painful day today. But anyway, man, I digress. Let me go ahead and get into this next story. So, by the way, I do want to shout out Mr. Sir William X. Yeah, we didn't tighten up, brother. We did not tighten up in this game. But I'm hoping that next week against the Colts, which is another rival of ours, we'll be able to make something happen and make some adjustments. But anyway, let's get back to gaming though, guys. So, we know that next generation starts in less, can y'all believe this? Put this in perspective. The next generation starts in less than 2 weeks. And this is the thing. These consoles, they aren't cheap. I mean, $300, don't get me wrong. That's not bad. But not everybody has $300. I feel that. But $300, $400, and $500. It's not really cheap. But to those people that may be interested, GameStop has actually given a list of how much they're going to be offering for Xbox One. So listen up if you're interested. This may save you a trip from going to GameStop, or you might go ahead and put some gas in your car and get ready to vroom vroom, run on up there. So if you wanted to know how much you'll get, here is the list. Now, the original, the big bone like I got, the original big bone Xbox One VCR looking model with the controller, you'll get $60 in cash, or you can get $75 in store credit, which ain't bad. That's not too bad. The Xbox One all digital 1 terabyte, you'll get $85 in store credit or $68 in cash. For the white Xbox One S 500 gigabyte model, you'll get $100 in store credit or $80 in cash. For the Xbox One S white 1 terabyte model, you'll get $110 for store credit or $88 in cash. And for the Xbox One X black 1 terabyte right, this is actually pretty good. You'll get $175 in store credit, or if you need the cash, you'll be able to get $140. So that $175, man, that takes it down quite a chunk. What does that take it down to? My math ain't great, so if I get it wrong, pardon me. But what, $325, somewhere around there, somewhere around that point, you'll be able to get the Series X. That's not bad at all. But those are the prices. So if any of you guys were interested in getting up there to GameStop, maybe throwing a couple of extra games that you might not be using or want to play when it comes to, going over to the next generation. Might be some games you don't want to play on the next gen consoles. Throw a couple of those in there. You might walk away with some pretty good store credit to be able to get the PlayStation 5 or the Xbox Series X. Let's go ahead and get into some more Sony news. Now, this is pretty interesting. So, all of you guys have heard of the infamous game. Oh man, this game. We have all heard of the infamous game called Bug Snacks, where the Joker, it was a purple, man, I never forget that game. That game had me bugging, man. That purple walrus came up and ate on the strawberry. Oh, this is delicious. That thing had me tripped. Couldn't believe it. But anyway, talking about Bug Snacks, oh gosh. If you are a PlayStation Plus subscriber, this is actually pretty cool. If you're a PlayStation Plus subscriber, you will be getting the game for free, but only on the PlayStation 5, because I do believe this game does release on the PS4 as well. But in order to get that benefit, getting the game free, you have to have the PlayStation 5 version. Now, the thing is, you will have up until April 1st, 2021 to claim it. Now, the interesting thing about this is outside of it being Bug Snacks and people joking it, and like I said, man, before that song was kind of lit, man. I could see myself singing along to that joint. But outside of that, another interesting, I don't even know why I'm even saying that out loud to y'all, man, oh man. But getting back on track, holy smoke. The thing about it is that people were wondering who the world is going to pay for Bug Snacks. And obviously nobody has to pay for it. But another interesting thing is that All-Stars, Destruction All-Stars is also being given away for free, if you guys didn't know. But the only downside to that is the game actually got delayed until February 2021. So with these two games, right, it made me start wondering, is this a bit of PlayStation's answer to Game Pass? Because these two games are brand spanking new. Nobody has had these. These aren't in PlayStation's back catalog. These are just two brand new games coming out for the PlayStation 5. And like I said, Bug Snacks, I believe that's coming out for the 4, but that's neither here nor there. Could this be a situation where we start seeing some of these games, smaller titles, not like AAA, but, a little mid-tier titles, start to go into their PlayStation subscription model, and they start building steam off of it this way. It'll be interesting to see, in the upcoming months, how they actually start to answer, Xbox Game Pass's, the strategy that they have. Could this be something we see more of? I'll be interested to know. But we only know as the months, weeks, and years go on. But anyway, let me go ahead and move into some more PlayStation news. Now, if you own a PlayStation VR, and I was talking about this a couple of weeks ago, but if you own a PlayStation VR and want to play it on the PlayStation 5, we finally got some concrete information. So you will need a camera adapter, which I talked about before, but for people that might not have heard that episode, we're just going to recap again. You'll need a camera adapter that you will get for free, but you will have to fill out a form where you will need to include your PlayStation VR serial number to verify that you own the unit. Now, in order to do this, you can check the rear panel of the PlayStation VR processor unit to find it. And just as a heads up, the serial number that you'll be looking for is going to start with either the letter C, M, or P. It'll just depend on your region. Now, in Google, this is what I did. I typed in how to redeem the PlayStation 5 VR adapter, and it gave me the website link. So for any of you guys that need the adapter, similar to myself, but I still, to be honest with y'all, haven't opened up my PlayStation VR. But for you guys that are active with it, make sure, like I said, to look for the serial number on the processing unit. It'll start with a C, M, or P. And just on a side note, Hitman 3 and No Man's Sky, the PlayStation 5 versions, they won't work with your PlayStation VR. You'll have to purchase the PlayStation 4 versions, use the backwards compatibility, and that way the Hitman 3 and No Man's Sky will work with it through the backwards compatibility, but don't get the PS5 versions because your PSVR won't work. So yeah, man, this is actually really cool because I was wondering how long was it going to take Sony to start telling people what they needed to do to be able to get this free adapter. And it looked like the process was pretty easy. As long as you have that serial number, you know, you'll be good to go. But yeah, no need to really harp on this any longer. So let's go ahead and get into the next story. Now, this is just a quick story. Actually, this is some Sega news. Jet Set Radio. Golly, I love that game. It's celebrating its 20th anniversary. It had released here in the States. Golly, this time is going by fast. This game released October 31st, 2000 on the Dreamcast. Oh my goodness, Jet Set Radio started. Sega was amazing, man. Sega was absolutely phenomenal. I mean, they had a lot of different consoles, peripherals, and we all know that that's what killed Sega off. But the Dreamcast, can any of you guys, and I mentioned this before, but can any of you think of a better launch lineup than the Dreamcast? It was absolutely incredible. And to have the amount of games at the quality that they were, it was just an incredible launch. And then talking about Jet Set Radio, that was the first game I had ever seen with that cel-shaded art style. It was just a marvel to look at. It was the closest thing at the time that I could get to anything that remotely looked like anime, because I was such a huge anime fan. I saw that and I lost my whole mind. I said, this is incredible. I have never seen anything like this. So I just had to shout out Jet Set Radio for their 20th anniversary. Golly, how old was I? 21 when this game came out. Good gosh, how time flies. Sega had man, I just want to talk about Sega real quick. We're talking about Game Pass and, you know, PlayStation Plus and all of these different, what do you call them, services. Man, Sega was so ahead of the curve. Sega Game Channel, back in the day, the Game Channel, Sega was just, they might have been a little too far ahead of their time. What they were doing was unprecedented at the time. And then having the Dreamcast be the first, we all know that. I'm just going down memory lane for a second, man. Just for a second. You know, just having Dreamcast be the first console to be online. Sega, we owe a lot to Sega. I don't know if Sega gets celebrated like they should. Well, maybe they do. But man, that Dreamcast, I thought that died way too early. One of my favorite games on the Dreamcast, outside of, Sonic Adventure at the time. Man, what else did they have? The Virtua Fighter franchise. One of my favorite games was Virtual Tennis, man. I used to absolutely love that game. I remember it. I was in Westview Mall. I bought some clothes. I was, getting ready to go out for the night. I'm like, man, let me go ahead and try to get fresh. Let me go ahead to Changes. Went on to the Changes clothing store. Got some jeans and got a shirt or whatever, t-shirt. And I remember going past, at the time, it wasn't GameStop. I don't know if it was Babbage's or it was Video Game Exchange. It might have been called Video Game Exchange at that time. I went by there and I saw on the screen this tennis game and I was like, whoa, this thing looks real. Let me stop in here and see what they got going on. Went on inside of there. It was Virtual Tennis. I said, man, oh man, is this released? Do you guys have this game? He was like, yeah, it's in the counter, behind the counter. It's still some left. I said, I'll be right back. I went on and I took that bag of clothes and said, brother, something came up. I can't even buy it. I gotta get something else. He was like, golly, man, you sure you just left like 10 minutes ago? I was like, yeah, brother, it ain't gonna work out. I took that money from the clothes, went right back down there, picked up Virtual Tennis. I didn't even go out that night. I stayed home and I had a ball. Virtual Tennis was amazing. Anyway, man, I have hopped on long enough. Let me go ahead and keep on moving down the line. But I start talking to y'all, bringing up stories and stuff, and start reminding me of stuff. I'm getting all nostalgic and whatnot. Let me keep on moving. Let's see. What do we have next, man? Shout out to Sega. Guys were amazing. But, okay, the next story here. Let me try to get back on track here. Now, even though we still don't have word of, Dying Light 2, this is interesting. What is it? Techland will be releasing Dying Light Anniversary for PlayStation 4 and Xbox One on December 8th for $39.99, and it will include several DLCs such as Prison Heist, Be the Zombie, Bozak Horde, Ultimate Survivor Bundle, and several others. So for any of you guys that have been wanting and yearning for Dying Light 2, Techland is at least coming out with this anniversary pack that's going to have several DLCs. It didn't say anything about any enhancements, but, maybe it'll hold you over. And for people that haven't been introduced to Dying Light, might be a pretty good time to get in. For $40, you get all of the DLC. It's not bad at all. Now, going into the next story, this is another quick one. Far Cry 6 has been delayed until March of 2021. Definitely a game I was looking forward to. Was that supposed to release in January, I believe, initially? So being delayed by 2 months, that's not bad. Not too bad. But let's go ahead and get into the next story. So you guys may or may not be aware, but the website called Plate, I want to pronounce that the best way. Well, I'm going to spell it out. PLATE. PlayStation 5 faceplates were taking orders, but has since been put on notice by Sony. I gotta shout AB out for this story, actually. He has sent this to me. They had since been put on notice by Sony, saying that if they continue to sell these faceplates, they would end up in court for infringement. on its intellectual property. So instead of selling faceplates now, they will instead sell skins for the next gen console. So once again, if you did order any plates from PlayStation 5 from that website, they have canceled the orders. You're not going to get any plates from them. And this is actually smart. Now, I will say, the guys, they did, and I'm not going to remember it verbatim because I have a horrible memory, but they were saying that they did their due diligence. They saw where the patent, it wasn't official yet, so they thought they could just slide on in and it would be legal to be able to sell these plates. But Sony said not at all. We want the money. This is our intellectual property. If you keep going, we're going to end up in court and you're going to get sued. So this is a clear indication that PlayStation, even if they didn't know it at the time, I'm sure they did. They have some smart heads there that, are trying to get to the bag just as much as everybody else. So I'm sure they knew that the faceplates and the customization could be a thing. But if they didn't know, they are absolutely on top of it now. And this shows that it could come a time very close in the future where Sony will start selling these faceplates individually. So how cool would it be if you didn't have to necessarily go out, because custom consoles are huge. We all love custom consoles. That Cyberpunk 2077 console, I wanted that so bad. But Best Buy sold out in like minutes, so it was no way I was getting it. But I love custom consoles, depending on what it is. So how cool would it be that PlayStation, they can still sell the custom consoles, but for the people that don't want to pay the $500 or $600 or whatever the case may be, if you want to go the cheaper route and get the actual plates that are similar to the actual console that they're releasing that's limited in limited supply, and you make limited editions of these face plates, that would be awesome, man. Being able to change up the whole body type of the PlayStation 5, for maybe $60 or $70 as opposed to $500 to $600. I think that's going to be a huge, huge market. Now, I'm not going to sit up here and lie to you guys and act like when the 360 was out, I was just flipping off faceplates, taking one off and putting the other one on. That wasn't really my deal. It really wasn't. I thought it was a cool thing to do, but just give me them games. That's all I really wanted. But for something like this, it has way more of an impact because it's actually the whole body of the console. So if they came up with a dope, I don't know, just for the sake of argument, a dope like Valhalla faceplate or Spider-Man or Uncharted. I mean, they got a million different franchises that are amazing. They could be incredible faceplates that they could sell. A dope Ratchet and Clank joint, man, I would be all over that. That's something I would really like because it's actually having a full effect on the console's body, something you'll be able to see instead of just a faceplate. So it'll be interesting to see, but for right now, for anybody that thought that Sony wasn't going to be getting that money firsthand, we know now. Anyway, let's go ahead and let's talk about Demon Souls. So back in June, in a PlayStation blog post, it was said, okay, this is actually according to PSLS. I want to give them their credit. Sony said that Demon Souls would come with, quote, beautiful shadow effects and ray tracing, end of quote. Now, gamers, hold on. Oh yeah, and gamers would be able to choose between two graphical modes. One would focus on fidelity and the other one would focus on frame rate. Now, sounds amazing, right? Sounds really good. I mean, good grief. Sounds great. Options. That's what we love. Options. But if you fast forward 4 months, which is October, well, it's officially November now, but when this was written, it was in October. Fast forward 4 months and Demon Souls creative director Gavin Moore has confirmed to Level Up that ray tracing wasn't ever part of Blue Point's original vision. So this is the thing. I'm going to see if I can bring this up real quick, if I can. Basically, he was saying that it's not that the PlayStation 5 can't do it. He never said that. He was just saying that with anything, it's going to be a sacrifice. So if they have to sacrifice, they would much rather keep it out, but that was never the plan. And I will say this, man. I will say 100% that game, I saw that latest trailer, and trust me, I am not interested remotely in, Demon Souls, because it's one of those hard games that I could just do without. I'm fine. But I will say that game looks stunning. I saw that demo. I said, good gosh, what the heck is going on? That game, I don't know what they did, but the games, it was running smoother. It looked better. It didn't look as sluggish with the combat. I mean, that game really looks like a next generation game. So I am not at all saying or throwing shots that it doesn't have ray tracing in the game. I'm just saying that things change. That was the whole point of this article. Things change, man. Sometimes this guy even said that it was never even in the plan. So, I mean, you can't even say change. That was just a lie that they had told that ray tracing was going to be in there, and it's not. But I give this guy credit. Mr. Moore, he stepped up to the plate. He could have went on to the 11th hour and said nothing. But instead, he came out and said, well, nah, that was never the plan to begin with. We knew that if we did that, it would come with sacrifices, and that was something that they weren't trying to do. So, I mean, despite that, the game looks absolutely, like I said, it looks marvelous. If you're not even interested in the game, but you just want to see the improvements, because that first time I saw it, I was like, man, I ain't even remotely into this. It don't look that great. It looks okay, but this time, man, that Joker was really hitting. That thing was hitting on 1,000. When you saw the fire come up, whoosh, and he had to back up, and he was still fighting I don't know what it was. He was fighting the enemy. I'm like, man, that fire looks stunning. That fire looks good. Darn a ray tracing at this point. Darn it. I don't even care. That game looks amazing, and I would tell anybody, check that game out. It looks good. I have harped on long enough about Demon Souls. No ray tracing, but don't worry, it does not take away from the beauty of that game. Anyway, let's go ahead and get into the last story for this week. Now let's talk about let's talk about some crazy Nintendo news. Now, the Nintendo Switch will be using NVIDIA Grid servers and Ubitus, is that how you pronounce that? Ubitus tech to stream high-end games to the console. And the first official game to take a crack at it will be Remedy's game, Control. Now, at this point in time, there are no specifics on pricing or exact availability, but Ubisoft's RTX GPU powered streaming platform will stream Control. This is crazy. This is to the Switch. It is streaming this to the Switch. It's going to stream Control in high-end performance, including ray trace visuals. I don't know, that's yet to be seen. We gonna see about that. But ray traced visuals and enhanced quality settings. So with this kind of tech, the Switch could be capable of running next gen titles on the Switch that we have now, meaning that in essence, you wouldn't really have to upgrade the console to get those next-gen visuals. Do you guys remember? It was a while back, man. really remember exactly when. Might have been last year sometime. I believe they said that the Switch was streaming. What was it? Resident Evil, the first person perspective Resident Evil. I'm trying to remember it on the fly, and I'm not good at remembering stuff on the fly, but they were talking about it was streaming it over in Japan. It was something that never came stateside, but this was a game that was way above what the Switch would have been capable of doing on its own without the streaming aspect of it. So with that being said and actually being put in place, I mean, how crazy would it be that on the Switch that you and I own right now, that it could come a time very close in the future that you could be playing a game, a next generation game on your handheld Switch? I don't even know how that's gonna work out. I mean, at that point in time, what do you get out of the Pro outside of a better screen? Maybe a 4K screen, something like that. But I don't know. It's just an interesting thing to think about, that we could see the Switch actually running games from a whole generation, maybe 2 generations ahead of where they are power-wise on their console. It's gonna be so amazing to see something like that. Anyway, guys, that is the end of the gaming news this week. My gosh. But with that being said, that's going to lead us into the question of the week, where I ask you, the amazing listener out there listening right now, a question. Now, the question this week is, what console are you getting first? PlayStation 5 or Xbox Series X? Now, we see that both of these different companies, they're going about this in different ways. Here you have PlayStation, they're talking about next generation experiences. They have Ratchet and Clank, Rift Apart. They have Horizon, Forbidden West. They have Miles Morales, Spider-Man, Miles Morales out there. They even have, even though it's a remake, let's not get it twisted, it's a remake, but it looks amazing for the 100th time, Demon Souls is out there as well. And then you look on, and even if it does happen, which I don't believe, but God of War in 2021, oh, that's something. But here you have Microsoft on the other side. They're concentrating more so on backwards compatibility and allowing you to take your older games, get the enhancements on them for free. The 60 frames per second, the 4K resolution, the faster loading times. That seems to be where they are right now, because quite honestly, that's where they have to be. They don't have the AAA exclusive IPs at the moment at the level that PlayStation has, so you gotta play to your strengths. But because of that, I want to know, what console are you gonna get first? Me, I told you guys before, and I'll say it again, proudly too. I am a Xbox fan through and through. I love the brand. I haven't really loved the moves that they've been making lately outside of that amazing Bethesda acquisition. That was incredible. But outside of that, I haven't been a fan of the moves that have been happening over there on the Xbox side of things with Phil Spencer. So for me, I would say the PlayStation 5, it really speaks to me at this moment as a gamer. I want to play Miles Morales. I want to play Ratchet and Clank Rift Apart. I absolutely want to play Forbidden West. Those games look incredible to me. So for me, that's enough to make me want to get the PlayStation 5 first, because on the Xbox side, even though we know games are coming, but we just don't know exactly when we're going to get them. Anyway, guys, if you want to be a part of the conversation, if you want to be on the listener feedback episode that's coming up later on this week answering this question, you can do it 2 different ways to be a part of that episode. You can either call in at 443-216-9934 and let your voice be heard, or you can email the show, and the email address is, of course, the Analog Circle Podcast at gmail.com. I was your host, Kiaun Mitchell, and I want to say thank you guys so much again for being here with me. I truly, truly appreciate it. It means so much to me. Thank you for the support. Thank you for the kind words and for spreading the word about the Analog Circle Podcast. Thank you guys. Without y'all listening, the show is absolutely not worth doing. Can't thank you enough. Don't want to sound like a broken record here, but thank you guys again. Thank you so much, man. But with that being said, we're going to close out the show. But before we officially get out of here, always remember, it is not about the consoles. It is about the games. So with that being said, until later on this week when we do it again, you guys take care. Be safe out there. Bye-bye.